I know what you're thinking. Where have I been? Allow me to explain. So I have been working so crazy hard the last like 2 months, month and a half or so, because I have been trying to wrap up my self-edits and my post-beta reader edits on book 2 in my series, because I needed to get the book to my editor at the end of February, but I ended up having to get a sort of extension because it was taking me way longer than I had planned to get through edits. I'm a very slow editor. I much prefer the writing side of things rather than editing, but that's beside the point. So, long story short, the book is with the editor now, and so what do I do now? I can't exactly work on book 2 because if I made any changes, that would kind of be pointless because the editor is going to be suggesting changes, and yeah, enough said. So, yes, recently I was working on book 1. Recently I was working on book 2. So, therefore, I have decided that for Camp Nanowrimo, in just a few days, I'm going to be working on book 3. Edits, of course, again. And it's going to take me a while. Now let's get into this tag and I will explain. Number 1, I have to introduce myself. Hello. Hi everyone. My name is Allison. I will be writing under the pen name A.G.M. Campbell. And I am 24 years old and I write mostly fantasy and romance, and currently working on getting my young adult fantasy series ready to publish, starting at the end of this year, which is pretty scary and awesome. Number 2, tell us about your projects. Well, if all goes as planned, I will just be working on the one project, but it's going to be a big one. It'll probably take both camp months at least to get through just this round of edits, which is essentially the first round of edits because I've barely touched this manuscript in years, partly because it's so massive and also because I wrote it during a very interesting time in my life, and a big part of the reason why I have chronic pain now is because I wrote a bit too much when I was working on this novel, and I kind of went overboard and did not listen to my body when my body was telling me, hey, maybe you should stop writing because your hands hurt. And now my hands hurt all the time. So that was the summer that happened. And I also cranked out this massive book. Let me just show you just how massive it is. I just went through and I wrote it in like 3 parts. So, part 1 is 73,730 words, 154 typed pages. Part 2 is 43,000, wow, I can't read this backwards. 43,005 words and 89 pages, typed pages. And then part 3 is 50,488 words and 104 typed pages. So that comes out to 167,223 words, 347 typed pages to go through. Yeah. Needless to say, that would probably be why I didn't have much of a social life in high school. Yeah, I didn't do anything all summer but write. Can you tell? Anyways, I'm regretting now my dislike for editing, because since I spent so much time writing so many words, now I'm paying the price now that I actually want to do something with those words. It's fine. Do not recommend waiting this long to edit, but it's fine. Anyways, that was a long answer. My camp goal, I'm in the middle of working that out. I'm thinking I'm probably going to do pages, a page goal rather than a word count goal since I'm editing. But it's going to be a pretty hefty goal because I pretty much just want to get through all these pages and find out what I need to do with this manuscript. So this will be like a first pass, essentially, but we'll see. If I really get into it, I might get to a second pass, or who knows. I might end up just cutting a whole bunch of it this first time around. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay, the next one is rookie or veteran. Are you a new or returning participant? I am definitely a returning participant. Like I said before, back in high school, I injured myself during a Camp Nanowrimo. And let's just take a little look now at what my first camp was. My first camp was June of 2012. And the last time I worked on this particular novel was, well, the last time, yeah, because I wrote it in 3 parts. So that was July of 2014 is when I last worked on this for a Camp Nanowrimo. About time I get back to it, right? So, there's a question for rookies, which I'm not, and then there's a question for veterans. What's one tip or trick you can give to other campers? My tip would be to plan. And I know all you pantsers out there are wincing big time because you hate to plan your novels, but I don't think I just said plan your novel. I just said plan. So if you don't want to plan your novel, that's okay. Go ahead and fly by the seat of your pants. It's a lot of fun doing it that way, but it can also be stressful. So you gotta plan in other ways. Like set aside a certain time of your day, every day or every week, that you're gonna be crunching out all the words. Whether that's getting up really early to write before work or school, or I guess not school since it's April, isn't summer yet. Never mind. Or like setting a time before bed to do some writing, or writing on a lunch break, or just like sprinkled intermittently throughout the day, or if you just want to work like in large chunks on the weekend. I recommend planning when you're going to write, what time of day, what day of the week, if you're not going to be writing every day. I recommend planning ahead your meals so you don't have to worry about that. Make sure you have all essentials on hand so you don't need to be running to the store, every 2 days, because that's insane when you're on a deadline, kind of. A fun deadline, but a deadline nonetheless. a chosen deadline. So I definitely recommend planning as much as you can plan. Doesn't have to be planning the book, because some people find that planning takes the joy out of it, which I understand perfectly. I'm kind of a half and half right now. I plan a little bit, but I also like to go in not exactly sure of what I'm going to be doing. And that's been consistent the whole time pretty much. I need a little bit of both. So, try your best to plan ahead, just so the month isn't like super stressful and seemingly impossible to achieve. How are you staying organized this month? Well, I will be filming vlogs, so I'll be putting myself out there, which is a way to hold myself accountable. That's not really an organization thing, it's a motivation thing. But anyways, notebooks. I'm a very visual person, so I like to write out like my word counts that I've achieved, or like what my plan is for each day, outlining the actual novel. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it on this board or if I'm gonna do it in like a notebook. I do have a couple pages back, I actually have one an outline from one of the last times I was working on this novel. So I might reference that and kind of expand on it. But yeah, outlining as I go is going to make sense for edits because, you know, it's just a way to have like a sentence or just like one line describing each chapter. And then I can kind of see where the story's going, and like, so I can have a chapter summed up in one line. I can see if it's important or not to the story, or if it can just be cut altogether. I also I made this calendar on a website called Shutterfly where you can personalize things. Let's write books. Isn't it cute? Anyways, I basically just took pictures from like Pinterest, Google, the internet, and put them together in little collages on each page and like a little motivational writing quote. So like this one is this month's. If I waited for perfection, I would never write a word. Margaret Atwood. Yeah, so next month I have this calendar specifically to plan out my writing schedule and publishing plans, etc. So I'll be writing like on here what I get done every day, and also the checkpoints each week of where I want to be at in the project, so I can see in front of me every day how I'm doing on my goal. So that's a big way. And also, of course, the Nanowrimo website with the little chart that shows how you're doing on your progress. I always find that very helpful. I also use the website Pacemaker, which I found immensely helpful because you can set your own goal. It's kind of like the little chart on the Nanowrimo website, but you can personalize it more. So you can put like, I don't want to write on Mondays, or I want to write more on the weekends, and it will adjust your word count goal or page count goal. You can change that for every day. And it's just a really great way to keep track of your goal and how it's unfolding. So yeah, that's a whole lot of organization. I'm a freak about these things because otherwise my head would explode. What do you have in your survival kit? Survival kit to get you through the month? Well, first of all, already mentioned this calendar, Pacemaker website, my computer. Does that count? Let me show you how cute it is. It's a little MacBook Air. Look at my stickers. This one's from Heine Brothers Coffee. That's Pikachu. These are from Burger King. Don't judge me. And then we have Snow White holding the apple, which I think is ingenious. I had to get it. Yes, my laptop. Couldn't live without it. Dictation software. I'm kind of floating around with what I'm using right now because I used to use Dragon software, but that does not work on a Mac. And so I was kind of using Google Docs for a while, but that's not super accurate. And then I recently found out about this app called Otter that it's on your phone, and it's actually really accurate. And I'm still kind of figuring out the kinks of how it works, but I'm probably going to use that quite a bit. There's a certain amount of time that you can use each month for free, because I'm still using the free version. So we'll see. I'll probably use that until I run out of time, if need be, and then I'll use Google Docs. Although since I'll be editing, I'm not sure, balance-wise, how much actual writing I'll be doing, as opposed to like line editing or just like deleting chunks, you know, changing a couple words here and there. I know these are going to be extensive, these edits, but I'm not sure this time around what exactly I'm going to be dealing with, because it's a whole lot of pages, a whole lot of words, and I haven't touched it in years. So I'm kind of going in semi-blind. So we will see. I couldn't survive without this amazing mug that my sister gave me, Creative Juices. I also love this one that she also gave me. It says "You're full of magic," and it's kind of opalescent, which I think is really pretty. They're my two favorite mugs ever. Oh, also, luckily everything I need is right here. I did not plan this. It's just luck that all of my things are right here. My talisman for poets and writers, which I always try and wear when I'm working on writing, because it truly works. I've been using this since at least high school, maybe even middle school, I'm not sure. And like I said, I'm 24, so it's been a while. And I still have this thing, and I love it. And it really works. I always am super productive, and I feel good about the words I write when I'm wearing it. It's like a confidence booster. It's amazing. The next one is predict how camp is going to go for you. I think it's going to go well because I'm kind of excited to be returning to this super old manuscript and actually diving into it. I've gone back to book 1 and book 2 in my series so many times, especially book 1. I've just like, I know it like the back of my hand at this point. It's crazy. So it'll be nice to be looking at something semi-fresh to me, even though it's the same characters and I know the story. It'll just be good to look back at words that I haven't been constantly reading the past, 10 years, 5 years, however long. So I think it's gonna go well. I do work full time. I work 40 hours a week. And yeah, that sucks. But, there's the weekend, and also I'm an incredibly motivated, dedicated person, and I love deadlines and goals and all of that jazz. So I will have no problem getting up early and getting to work on this because I want so badly to publish this. I've been working on this series for 10 years, and I want it to actually do something other than just sit there on my computer and collect dust, figuratively. So, it's time. Next, do you prefer the camps or the regular NaNoWriMo? I like them all for different reasons. Of course, I love NaNoWriMo because it feels like the whole world is participating, pretty much. It's super big, and most people in the writing community know about it, so you can be like, oh, you're a writer? Are you doing NaNoWriMo? And it's like a community lingo, kind of. And I think that's super fun. And there's always like events and write-ins and word sprints and live streams, all of those things going on. And it's just super fun. There's always something going on. If you're writing at any time of day, you can usually find someone else online who's writing that will help you stay motivated. I just think it's super fun. And also the prizes are killer, of course. Camp is awesome too, though, because there's the flexible goal that you don't have to necessarily do 50,000 word novel. You can work on a screenplay. You can write based on pages rather than words. You can do whatever you want, basically. And there are still prizes, and there's still motivation. It's just not as big. It's like NaNoWriMo light. But it's still awesome. So, it's a tie, I guess. I love them both. I cannot answer this. Next. What's something you would change about Camp NaNoWriMo? I would bring back the cabins, because there used to be cabins on the Camp NaNoWriMo website back when it was separate from the NaNoWriMo website, where you could either choose people to be in a cabin with, or you could just be assigned randomly, and you'd be in a group with a few other writers. Sometimes, depending on your settings, they could be writing the same genre as you, or it could be completely random. But I always thought it was really fun because they could be in any country in the world, and you know, they'd be all participating in camp at the same time, and it's just super cool to be like, oh, you're in Ireland? Cool. I'm not. What is it like for you? And like, but also getting writing advice at the same time. It's just super cool, and then you can see everyone's goals and like cheer each other on. And I wish that was still a thing, because I thought it was fun to like meet people from around the world, and like you can connect with them if you want on social media, or you don't have to. Like, you could be in a cabin and not talk to your cabin mates, but I thought it was cool to talk to my cabin mates, because I'm weird like that. Yeah, I miss cabins. Oh well. Last question. What's your favorite thing about Camp Nanowrimo? My favorite thing is probably the flexibility, which I've already mentioned. It's pretty cool that you don't have to necessarily write a 50,000 word novel. Not that you have to do anything, even during NaNoWriMo. It's not like there's anyone standing behind you saying, you're doing this wrong, stop it, or you'll get detention, or, you know, no dessert for a week. That's not a thing. Thank God. But, yeah, the flexibility is cool. Also, for any of you really old, not like old, but veterans of these programs, you might recall a little something called Script Frenzy, which way back in the day, that's what happened in April. Instead of camp, there used to just be one camp, but then in April, there was Script Frenzy. Actually, I'm not sure. Maybe there wasn't camp back then. I don't remember. But yeah, April was Script Frenzy. And so the project was to write an entire screenplay or play, you know, teleplay, any of that, a script in 30 days. And it was so much fun. I wrote my first screenplay that way, and I love screenwriting, and I would not have discovered it probably until much later in my life if it weren't for Script Frenzy. And yeah, that was a good time, but then they got rid of it, and I was sad. I forget what the question was. My favorite thing about camp. Oh yeah, I got off topic a little bit. Anyways, I miss Script Frenzy, but the cool thing about camp is if you want, you can still do Script Frenzy. It's just that not everyone else out there is going to be writing a script. So they just expanded or like combined things, which is kind of efficient because, you know, it's not like everyone is into writing scripts. So it's fine. Anyways, that was the last question, and that pretty much sums up how Camp NaNoWriMo is looking to me right now. It's looking pretty good, but, you know, it usually does, you know, before we've even approached the hill and seen just how high it is. We're still pretty far back, and it's like, oh, that thing's kind of small. You could easily get over that. Whew, metaphors. Anyways. Yes, that is the end of the video. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying tuned this whole time. I really appreciate it. I would also appreciate it if you would give this video a little thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more content from me. And click on the little bell if you want notifications. And I will now be posting every Wednesday. Every single Wednesday on the dot, no matter what. Don't hold me to that, but I'm gonna try my darndest. I will see you all next week with another one, and then we'll be doing camp, and I'm super excited. How about you? Let me know down in the comments what your project is this April, and how excited you are. And I'll see you guys again soon.